This is on their website, by the way. And I'm sitting there yesterday, I'm like, there's no way this has to be real. So if you go, Rob, right now and ask chat or ask ChatGPT,
I know you like number. I know you like the number. Ask ChatGPT. Oh my God, my goat. He done did it again. Now let's get back to conspiracy theories. Fox News. Spencer Pratt. Breaking news. Spencer Pratt falls to third after latest ballot count. And of course, right-wingers predictably are saying this is a theft that has taken place.
And here's the news. Spencer Pratt, who held on to second place all week last week, has now dropped to third. And Nithya Raman, a progressive who used to work and support Karen Bass, has now moved into slot number 2. Pratt trails Raman now by about 3,000 votes as it stands right now on this Monday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning in California. We expect to get more votes later today. But
yeah, right-wingers are chirping about this because they're shocked at the concept that a city that despises Donald Trump would not vote in large enough numbers to make its mayor a version of Donald Trump at a time when Donald Trump is even less popular than the last time there was an election in this city where Trump was on the ballot, where Kamala Harris was plus 53 up on Donald Trump. President Trump has criticized California's election process, stating it's not possible for LA mayoral candidate Spencer Pratt to have lost his early lead, while also criticizing the length of time it takes to count the votes. Trump says not possible for Spencer Pratt to have lost the LA runoffs after the big lead he had, third world nation, rigged elections. Now they'll be working on great guy Steve Hilton. Won't have results for possibly 2 weeks, according to officials. President DJT. Yeah, it doesn't seem likely that Tom Steyer is going to make it into the runoff, if we're being real, unfortunately, because it would have been nice to block out that British dickhead too from the top of the ticket. While this is the least surprising turn of events, some additional insight into extra unsurprising moments have been the Republicans claiming that there is some sort of election theft taking place, as they always say. Now, of course, this obviously doesn't make any sense because Karen Bass doesn't want to match up against Nithya Raman. Karen Bass wants to match up against Spencer Pratt. So if we are to assume that the California establishment machine, the Democratic Party machine, was actually cooking the books, they would not cook it in favor of Nithya Raman, as someone with a much better shot at unseating the incumbent Karen Bass. Here is one example of this for Tom Steyer versus Javier Becerra, former endorser of Eric Swalwell, Ted Lieu, who sucks. Ted Lieu openly says, I endorse Javier Xavier Baccaria. That's why I hope Republican Steve Hilton remains in the top 2. The latest vote updates show Hilton will likely beat Steyer. Once again, ridiculous thing to admit, you idiot. Do you not understand that there are down ballot consequences in your state for your party if more Republicans come out and vote in the general? He does understand it, but that's how desperate he is for an easy establishment win. What's shocking to me is that he's saying the quiet part out loud. But once again, this is exactly what I was referencing when I said these guys don't want a real race. They don't want any real contest. They just want the establishment pro-Israel stooge, pro-corporate stooge to win. And now Javier Baccaria is probably going to skirt onto an easy victory over Steve Hilton in a state that is overwhelmingly blue. Campaign of LA Mayor Karen Bass is now directing its attacks against Nithya Raman as her presumed opponent in the general election. Obviously, if Karen Bass was matching up against Spencer Pratt, she would highlight how woke she is in comparison to Spencer Pratt being not so woke. But now that she is being outflanked by a further to the left opponent, she very quickly has pivoted to the right in an effort to draw a distinction between herself and Nithya Raman. Her campaign spokesperson, Alex Stack, just issued this statement. We look forward to winning a contest against an opponent who allows encampments near schools and fights against hiring more cops, yet is MIA on saving Hollywood jobs and fighting back when ICE invades LA. Shameless. Harry Emden and his take on the dumb election conspiracies being advanced by the Republican side.
Dumbest conspiracy theory I have ever heard, because the Democratic establishment and Karen Bass wanted Spencer Pratt and the...
Dog, you know what this would be like if we were complaining that Amy McGrath lost in Kentucky to Mitch McConnell? How could this have happened? Clearly, there's electoral theft taking place here. Obviously, they shoved the ballots. They packed the mules.
Bass has a real race on her hand if, in fact, Raman is the one who advances. And of course, the Democratic establishment is backing Karen Bass. But versus Spencer Pratt, she was crushing him. She wanted to face Pratt. She wanted nothing.
By the way, this is consistent with the polls, especially because Nithya Raman was gaining. So the idea that it's like totally unexpected is absolutely silly.
To do with Raman. That's why these conspiracy theories, simply put, make no sense, people.
When we talk about favorability, you have more evidence here.
Yeah, this is more evidence. You know, why is it that Nithya Raman's doing so much better than Spencer Pratt would against Karen Bass? It's simply put, Raman is actually decently liked by LA City voters. Look at this. Okay, Nithya Raman, +5 on the net favorability rating. Karen Bass, way underwater at -22 points. You basically just need someone who's half decently well-liked to be favored, or at least have a real shot against the incumbent Karen Bass. Spencer Pratt, on the other hand...
You don't understand. As a voter from Ohio, I've never heard of Councilwoman Nithya Raman, and therefore it must mean that she stole the election. Because my timeline showed over and over again Spencer Pratt making cool-ass AI videos, and clearly whatever I see on my Twitter For You page is reality, is the only reality that I acknowledge. So obviously there's some taking place here. Or here's Ken Benzinger saying, this is extremely simple. More than 60% of registered voters in Los Angeles are Democrats. Less than 15% are Republicans. Stop being shocked that LA voters prefer Democrats and stop spreading conspiracy theories that explain simple electoral math. Matt Van Swole, another one of these right-wing dickheads, said, that explains why Democrats do well in LA. It does not explain why a candidate in third place would suddenly outperform the first-place candidate in later counted ballots. Those two are totally different questions. Nobody's shocked that LA is blue. People are asking why the vote pattern changed so dramatically after election night, why Raman's late ballot share looks so different. There's an answer for that, too. The further left and younger the voters are, the more likely they are to vote by mail. Bass's voters are center-left and older. Raman's are left to far left and younger. As we all should know by now, in California, the in-person votes get counted first. So Bass did by far the best among in-person votes and took an early lead. But the mail-in ballots, which critically aren't counted until in-person are done, heavily favored Raman. That is what explains the late surge by Raman, not some far-flung conspiracy. Yes, by the way, younger voters are late voters. Younger voters are voters that vote by mail, myself included, by the way. I also am, I guess, technically not really young, but I did vote by mail, and I voted on election day. I dropped off my mail-in ballot on election day. And guess what? Plenty of other people did the same. And you know what else young voters do? Younger voters do? They vote with DSA LA and Knock LA voter guides. And the DSA LA voter guide, which is widely dispersed, widely distributed, widely shared, widely utilized, all had Nithya Raman as the suggestion. So it makes total sense that whoever is even, whoever cared enough to go out and vote, especially younger voters, would go out and vote for Nithya Raman. Let's hear from the most brilliant and most astute observer of elections, Asmongold.
Blown the out. Blown out. See ya, bitch. Thank God. Yes, remember he had that bitch on his stream? Yeah, that's what you get. Maybe you shouldn't have been trying to... Hassan really should be blaming himself for this. You had this woman on to be part of the LA mayor. That's what you get. It's his fault. He did this. That's why he's trying to stay off the screen, because he knows it. He doesn't want to take credit. He's embarrassed. And so she's been going up. Look at how many votes she's been getting here with all mail-in ballots. They're rigging it. They're rigging it. And also, we're at the point now where I don't think that anybody should be afraid to say that. And I think that really we need to have more oversight, because these are the same people that said that the Minnesota daycares were legitimate.
It's even crazier when he's wearing like a noticeably colorful t-shirt that he just simply does not change his shirt at all. It's nasty as that he's been wearing the same exact ugly ass color t-shirt for the past 4 days. But yeah, he went from Asmongold now claims the LA mayoral election was rigged after prematurely celebrating and blaming Hassan Piker for Nithya Raman's loss before the votes were all counted. They're rigging it. We're all at that point. We should be saying it. I said more brilliant analysis from this moron. While the votes were still being counted last week, centrist influencers and right-wing outlets all prematurely celebrated and blame Hassan Piker for Nithya Raman's loss. By their logic, they should all give 100% credit to her win now. All of Hassan's candidates lost. My face when all my candidates lost. Hassan Piker's reaction when Nithya Raman was projected. These guys are supposed to be centrist. They're supposed to be vote blue no matter who guys. And they're celebrating Spencer Pratt. What they prematurely were celebrating was Spencer Pratt, Timu Trump potentially making it to the runoffs. Asmongold blames stuff for Nithya Raman losing the LA mayoral race. These people get every single political issue wrong every single time, and their audience never learns from it. Yes.
When Trump walked out, this kind of leads me into the next.
Oh my God. Oh, the numbers guy. I know you like the number. I'm a numbers guy. I ChatGPT'd it, I grokked it, and I found out that Spencer Pratt is the president of California. He actually won the presidency in California. But obviously, as a numbers guy, we went to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT told me Spencer Pratt had the election stolen from him.
With Spencer Pratt. So you guys know we talked about it like a week ago, and everybody was expecting him to advance with Karen Bass. And he was going out there celebrating the picture with him and his wife. He had an 8-point lead. And everyone's looking at this chart. If you look at this, Rob, if you want to zoom.
Everybody I know, and we all live in Florida, and we are all Trump supporters and Trump voters, we all know Spencer Pratt was winning.
Go on the link. So this is what website, Rob? Can we verify what website?
Do people not know that you can bring those things to the DMV and get a driver's license called proof of address? You dumbass. I feel like half the relies on people too dumb to remember anything about their lives. The funniest is there are numerous states where you can do all of this, and even though they live in states where you can do all of this to go out and vote, they still complain when it's happening in California. That's my favorite. The best example of this is Donald Trump, who is a notorious mail-in ballot voter from the state of Florida, where you can do that. Complain about others doing it all the time. Donald Trump has always voted by mail in the state of Florida. You guys understand that, right? He's registered to vote in the state of Florida, and he always votes by mail in the state of Florida. And then he always complains about voting by mail in other states. The state of Florida also happens to be the same state that Patrick Bet-David is in, just so you understand.
Identification card, credit card, military identification card, health club identification card, H.
Stop it.
This is on their website, by the way. And I'm sitting there yesterday, I'm like, there's no way this has to be real. So if you go, Rob, right now and ask Chat or ask ChatGPT,
I know you like number. I know you like the number. Ask ChatGPT. Oh my God, my goat. He did it again. He did it again, bro. He's so goated. He's so sick.
Arizona, Nevada, Alaska, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I think 4 out of 5 of these states are all left, on the left. Why do you want it to be slower? So when you see the president getting upset with Walker, you're sitting there saying, maybe the guy's got an argument. Matter of fact, let me ask you guys a question. If let's just say, Vinny.
Left states, communist, like Arizona and Alaska and Nevada, these are all known socialist states. I ChatGPT'd it, and Chat told me these are all states where they believe in Maoism, Marxist, Leninist Maoism.
Forget whatever party it is, Tom. Take the Libertarian Party. Take the Green Party, Vinny. Take the Democratic Party. Take the Republican Party, Adam. You go hire the mob, the Italian mafia, and I'm talking old school. You hire them as consultants.
None of these new guys. None of these new guys. Because everybody knows, just like the NBA is soft and the Italian mafia is soft now. But the old school ones, back in the day, you hire those guys to go out and hire mules. I love this guy because, first of all, I loved it. The peanut gallery just has to sit there and be like, brilliant and brave takes, sir, once again. But I love him because he lives life like that depiction of art that he has, that work of art that he has inside of the vault, where it's like him and like MLK Jr. and Einstein and all these other people like Tupac and the Shah. Like, that's him. That is a piece of art that depicts his personality so perfectly, where in his mind he's like, yeah, what do? You hire Scarface. You hired a Scarface to come in and steal the votes in exchange for cocaine. You go to Godfather. I just watched it last night again. One of the best movies. Obviously, it got worse when the daughter started doing her directorial debut. You can't let the womans know about the Godfather. It's not the Godmother, it's the Godfather. I know you like the number. I ran the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. And Godfather did worse when the women got involved and they turned it into Godmother. Nobody liked to watch the sequel for this reason.
Allow the other side to win. What would you advise us to do? What do you think they would say? Okay, imagine you went to the mob, the mafia. Okay, you're asking criminals who do this for a living, what can we do to never lose elections again?
Yeah, criminals who engage in ballot harvesting for a living. That's what they do. The mob. Oh, man, this guy's so awesome. I just know that there are so many people who watch it and never derive the same joy that I get out of watching my goat, my king, Patrick Bet David. And they sincerely listen to him. And they're like, yeah, this guy knows what's up. He knows what's up. He's speaking truth to power right now, you son of a bitch. This is so awesome.
You know what's the first thing I would say? Do whatever you can to not require photo IDs. Check. We did it in California. Number 2, make it as slow as possible so we can count ballots afterwards.
What does that have to do with the theft? Isn't it worse because it draws suspicion? Isn't that a less efficient way of stealing the election? You dingus. Counting the ballots slow on purpose is done to make us feel good, but then to also steal it later so we know they stole it. It's kind of like Tony Montana, who's my idol and my icon, one of the best guys. Real guy in Cuba, from Cuba, okay, lives in Miami now. Tony Montana, he always used to say, make your enemies know that you are there. Make your enemies know that you are cheating on them, because it's a power move. Show them that you don't have the numbers because your enemies are numbers guys. I'm a numbers guy. Show the enemy that you don't have the numbers at first, make them feel comfortable, and then bring in the numbers.
Check. Allow mail-in ballots, and as long as possible, check. As long as you do this, don't worry about it. You'll have it under control. You're serious? Oh yeah, you're gonna have it under control. And convince Americans that getting photo IDs is racist.
Racist, brilliant. That's the
Convince them it's racist.
Got it.
Yeah.
And convince them it takes very slow.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, the mob did this. The Italian mafia, and not the new one. The new Italian mafia is not as hard body as the old Italian mafia. They did this. They convinced the American people it is racist to have identification.
You haven't worked with me long term, face to face, like in a company. You don't know my style. You only know me from the podcast and the relationships that we have. You don't know how I challenge. You don't know how I drive. You haven't been with me behind closed doors. Some people have witnessed how I do and what I do there. You don't think I want to see California flip?
You just know me as the numbers guy, but sometimes they call me the enforcer guy, okay? You don't think I would do anything in my power to make sure California flips? I'm a numbers guy. I want to flip the number. I know you like the number. I want to flip it. That's my style. We come in, we go out, we flip the number.
You know how annoyed these people are? These are good people that have said, I'm not leaving. And then you do something like this. And you want something to change with this? By the way, do you remember that one interview where Newsom's like, oh, we're not worried about the elections? And he had that smile. This was like 3 weeks ago.
I've still got the clip. You want to?
Yeah, because it's California. Yes, because it's California. It's one of the bluest states in the country. That's why. Oh my God, these guys are so stupid, dude. They're just sitting around making each other scared and mad. This has always been the reactionary method. Look at how pissed Vinny is, by the way. I haven't seen Vinny this mad since he had to appear alongside myself, the guy responsible for 9/11. It's one of the most basic concepts. It's the equivalent of if I got together with my, homies and we're sitting around and we're like, Alabama, socialist safe haven. Everybody knows this. I got friends in Alabama. Well, I don't, but I got friends in California that's always talking about how Alabama is communist. But once again, the goddamn Republicans have stolen the Alabama election away from the communists. That's literally what they're doing right now. What they're doing is the equivalent of me talking about how I talk to all of my socialist friends in Los Angeles, and we all decided collectively that Alabama is a communist state, and yet the Republicans keep stealing the elections from the commies and giving it to the Republicans.
Need to be the case, but there is a break the glass scenario, and there's many people that have a deep understanding of what it would look like if Democrats were locked out, and we're going to do everything to make sure that doesn't happen.
Just saying the quiet part out loud.
And Adam,
we're going to do everything possible.
And nobody could do
to make
anything.
sure.
Agencies can shape.
Do something about it.
Agencies could shape the future.
Yeah,
and I'm tired of hearing, Pat, democracy. We're not a democracy, but we have lost the republic. If this is how it happens in front of our face, we can't do nothing about it. The government can't do nothing about it. And that's the front runner. That's the front runner of the Democratic Party. And if they win...
Yeah, he's talking about redistricting, dude. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about redistricting. And as far as the race goes, he's saying he's not worried about the race regardless. But once again, these guys are like, oh, they're going to steal the election from the Republicans. The Republicans are going to win.
When you increase technology, you increase
the confirmations and you can increase the confidence. Now, technology isn't a voter tabulation machine that can be hacked and flip votes. We've seen examples of the voting machines. You've seen this, Benny, over the years where they've said, this is an example how this particular machine was flipped. No, the deeper you go in technology, Congress heard a presentation. This is a select committee, heard a presentation on the blockchain, Pat. Hey, did you know you could just take every person who's a valid citizen, put them on the blockchain, you'll know instantly did they vote or not. Not who they voted for, but did they vote or not.
What is this man saying, bro? Oh my God.
How does she surge when she's backing off?
Watch the video, Rob. Play the video. Go ahead, Rob. Look at this motivational speech. This is like, she lost. Okay?
Los Angeles is the most magical city in the entire world.
This was like a concession speech?
No, it wasn't a concession speech. And she was crying when talking about her twins, apparently. No, she did not concede. I bet you if you told these guys there was a ballot issue where Spencer Pratt didn't appear on Beverly Hills ballots, they'd get all fired up about it. Dude, don't even give them the, oh my God, oh my God, oh no. You just spoke that into existence, MAGAphonics. You talk to your MAGA parents too much, okay? You're inventing new ways of how MAGA will assume this election was stolen. Oh no.
So grateful to call this extraordinary city my home.
Yeah. Okay, so she allegedly, let me just verify.
I don't think that's an act. I think she really believed that, and I think the machine wants what.
Oh my God, these people are so stupid that they're like, well, she was crying here, so I've decided that she lost and she's conceding when she's not conceding, and I've also further decided there's a machine that has actually caused her to win the election after she thought she had lost.
And then he drops,
and look at that,
all the way down, and Rahman comes up.
And well, even Bass went a little bit lower. So you're saying that everyone who voted in that last 48-hour window, everyone voted for the communists.
Yes.
Bro, perhaps there's a lesson to be learned here. You won't learn it, but that lesson is don't use Kalshi as a reliable metric for who's going to win a election. It's not a poll. It's a gambling app.
We believe this is an election. They believe this is a revolution. And during a revolution, anything is permissible. And
yeah, dude, that's what's going on. We're doing the revolution by getting Nithya Raman in as LA mayor. Or wait, it's even dumber than that. We're doing the revolution by kicking out Spencer Pratt from the runoffs. That's the revolution.
That's what you're seeing it here. You know, we believe that they're wrong and that we need to sit down and find a way to reason with the ones that are close to the middle and to bring them over. That's the spirit of this podcast.
It's always funny because it's like, what do you say to this? I always wish that the Democrats were, if not a quarter, as revolutionary as the Republicans claim they are, you know? It's a very sad state of affairs.
You're a California guy. What are you hearing from your people? Because at the end of the day, there's going to be a socialist versus a communist, it seems, in this runoff. What are people in California?
I'm going to be honest. Between Karen Bass and Nithya Raman, I don't know which one he's referencing as the communist. I assume he means Nithya Raman is the communist, but Karen Bass genuinely throughout her work with the Venceremos movement, actually closer to being sympathetic to communism than Nithya Raman certainly is. So I don't know. I don't know if I assume they're saying Nithya Raman is the communist because she's younger and she's more radical, I guess, even though she's not. But Karen Bass actually was a communist at some point in her life. I'm not kidding when I say that about Karen Bass. Karen Bass literally worked alongside the Cuban government for years. And I think that's a good thing for the record. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. She did humanitarian aid missions. It's true. Now, that doesn't reflect on who she is now, unfortunately, but she used to be a comrade.
And then by 89, when Khomeini died and things got chaotic, we left. By the way, we are known as leaving the latest. We left late because they thought something good was going to happen, right? And then we left.
And they were wrong. My parents, not a numbers guy. Am a numbers guy. My mother and my father, not a numbers guy. I crunched the numbers. I know you really like number. If it was up to me, I would have left way before the revolution.
And we should have a moment of silence for this guy, Tom Steyer. He just keeps pumping hundreds of millions of dollars
$100 million
to get elected. And the world is
He's in the Bloomberg camp.
The guy, buddy.
You know who else did that? Meg Whitman also did that many years ago. She ran as a Republican.
What's really funny about this, by the way, is, not so jokingly, but jokingly referred to Tom Steyer using his money better than wasting it away in this election and handing it to the DSA, and people got like real mad. There were DSA members that were like, we would never accept $200 million from a billionaire. It would never come without strings attached, all this stuff. It's like, don't worry, guys. It's not going to happen, okay? It's very funny, and it's also very, like, leftist discourse to just, like, get ahead of a situation that is not even remotely likely to happen and, you know, drive discourse on utter fantasy, like pure fantasy.
I think former CEO of eBay, and she went through different things. Father's Day's around the corner. And there's one statistically on Mother's Day place. Looking for
oh, wait, the end of this is just all ads. Oh, my God.
Nithya Raman has...
Yeah, I'd rather die than watch Tim Pool talk about how Democrats cheated.